Please welcome our first student speaker, Taylor Blow, receiving her Master of Science in Physician Assistant Studies.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you to Dean Miner, Dr. Jameson, Professor Wright, and all of the MSPA faculty and staff. Thank you to our families and friends who have supported us over the past 3 years. And thank you to the MSPA class of 2026 for letting me represent you today. This class is incredible, not just because of what we accomplished, but because of who we are. This group includes Marines, first-generation college students, researchers, artists, dancers, rock climbers, skiers, photographers, and crocheters. Over these past 3 years, people in this class have gotten married, became parents, recovered from surgeries and injuries, presented at AAPA and AHA, brought diversity to dermatology education, finished triathlons, survived clinical year, passed PANCE, and somehow still found time to celebrate along the way. When this program started, I think a lot of us approached it the same way we approached everything else in life. Head down, work hard, stay disciplined, keep moving. At first, PA school felt like a sprint disguised as a marathon. There were late nights trying to memorize anatomy, playing catch-up on 800 overdue Anki cards, and long Saturdays going through all the practice questions that Rosh had to offer before a block exam. And then there were moments that reminded us that we weren't doing this alone. It looked like runs before class, arts and crafts sessions, Taylor Swift release parties, enjoying Stanford sporting events, and post-exam adventures to the city. Intramural volleyball games, holiday parties, pickleball, and celebrating birthdays, no matter how crazy our schedules got. Classmates dropping to do push-ups with me during study breaks of finals week before my first military fitness test. Wearing blue together on World Diabetes Day. Finding a swimming pool in the middle of the desert, and never being too busy to end a night with salt and straw. In a world increasingly shaped by screens, speed, and disconnection, our class chose something different. We chose to show up for each other. One Sunday, I got a text from a classmate asking if I was okay when they noticed that I was in the emergency department. I let them know that I was okay. I was actually there shadowing a PA to see if it was an environment that I might like to work in. But that text stuck with me because it perfectly describes this class. People checked in, we had each other's back. Along the way, we found a rhythm, but like any marathon, there were hard moments too. Moments where life outside of school didn't pause just because we had an exam the next morning. Moments of illness, injury, loss, homesickness, uncertainty, and exhaustion. Clinical rotations that humbled us, patients we will never forget. Adapting to and overcoming the inaugural EOD. And somehow, we all figured it out together. When someone didn't understand a concept, we all pitched in with different study methods, mnemonics, or videos, until something finally worked. When somebody felt overwhelmed, someone else stepped in beside them, and when confidence ran low, we borrowed it from each other. That's what I'll carry with me most from these past 3 years. Not just what we've learned in the lecture halls or the hospitals, but the kind of people this experience brought into each of our lives. Because medicine is not a solo race either. It is long, unpredictable, and sometimes overwhelming. There will be moments when our patients are scared, exhausted, or convinced they can't keep going. And in those moments, we will remember what this class taught us: to slow down, to notice who's struggling, and to run beside them for a while. Soon, we'll all head in different directions, different specialties, different hospitals, and different parts of the country. But wherever we go, a part of this class goes with us. The humor, the grit, the willingness to show up for each other, and the ability to make even the hardest seasons a little less heavy. So today is not just a finish line. It's proof that none of us got here alone. And if these past 3 years taught us anything, it's this. We didn't just run this race, we ran it together. Congratulations, MSPA Class of 2026.
Please welcome our next student speaker, receiving her master's degree in clinical informatics management, Evelyn Kim.
Oh, I love it. All right, there you go. Wow, look at you guys, you're amazing. I lost my voice, as fate would have it, and so I apologize. My classmates, the informaticists, of course, suggested that we create a digital twin and have the first AI-generated graduation speech. I mean, typical for Stanford, but no, I said, no, we can struggle through it, so here we go. Just like I tell all my patients, this is gonna be way more painful for you than it is for me, so. Here's my pledge of academic integrity. I did not AI this speech, so it will become obvious. I graduated from medical school 30 years ago, exactly. It's very exciting to see you all out here, yeah. But today is a totally different experience than my graduation before the turn of the century, before a lot of you were even born. I still have clothes that are older than most of you in this room. It's okay, don't throw out your skinny jeans. They will come back in style, unfortunately. Just learn from my mistakes. So today is so much more exciting than my med school graduation though, because now I know what you're all in for when you leave here today. And I can tell you, it's gonna be amazing, like really fantastic. There is no better way to spend your life than caring for humanity, than ensuring the well-being of others, than keeping patients alive and healthy. AI will never replace that. But things have changed a lot since I started practice in the 90s, for sure. Most physicians in my generation, we just finished residency, hung a shingle, started seeing patients. We foolishly or probably egotistically thought that we were the healthcare system. We thought it would just work itself out. Most of us weren't prescient, like the founder of my master's program, Dr. Kevin Schulman, and your Stanford faculty, and we just didn't know. So the little people like me, we went out there and we did good work on a one-by-one patient, on a one-by-one basis, seeing patients, but because of that, we lost sight of the bigger picture, and we let the healthcare system become a total quagmire around us. So on behalf of my colleagues, I apologize. We're really sorry. We didn't know better. We didn't have Claude helping us figure everything out. We had to read textbooks and stuff. Not that was better, it was just, a little harder. We also had to walk uphill to class, in the snow, even though I actually went to med school in Florida. But the longer I stayed in practice, the less I could ignore the mess around me, which is why I decided to come back to school and enroll in the Master of Clinical Informatics program, along with that ragtag crew of people behind me, all back there, you guys. What I discovered is that master's students are smart and scrappy. They're really scrappy. I call it scraptitude. They're a bunch of do-gooders who halted careers or continued to work full-time, who quit jobs at places like Apple, Roche, and Amazon, who took a year off from med school, or who got ready to apply to med school, who founded companies and took undergrad physics classes here, who got engaged, raised kids, and had babies, who traveled across the country and halfway around the world from their families: Singapore, China, Kazakhstan, Japan, Indonesia, Australia, really, Australia, every other weekend for a year from Australia, so that they could learn the skills that would one day allow them to be your future C-suite executives. I'm just kidding. I would never do that. But Jason Shen, you should watch out for him, because he might. We spent the last year getting depressed about health policy, relearning statistics, evaluating financial statements, pitching to VCs, figuring out how to read a business school case study. It turns out they're like hostile parables. Pondering bioethics, going to wineries, teaching ourselves to vibe code, mastering ontologies, databases, Excel spreadsheets, so many Excel spreadsheets. It was a lot, but we did it. Congratulations, master's students. Give yourselves a hand. I learned this time around that there's an entire army of people who want to help us doctors work this out. Students who are today receiving their master's degrees in biomedical data science, call yourselves out, community health and prevention, epidemiology, health policy, genetics and genetic counseling, laboratory animal science, translational research and applied medicine, and of course, clinical informatics management. They, we, all of us, we can work together to find scientific breakthroughs, new technologies, better paradigms of care delivery, a different kind of health insurance, like anything would be better. All of us, we're here today because we seek meaning and value, contribution, relevance. Physicians, APPs, and nurses may be the tip of the spear in care delivery, but we're all here today because we share a common North Star: improving the lives of patients. It's now our duty. There's a concept in Japan called ikigai. Essentially, this translates to reason for being. One of the ways of looking at this is that there are 4 pillars to having a meaningful life. Ikigai is finding the intersection between what you love to do, what you are good at, what society needs, and how you can get paid. Spoiler alert, does not have to be billions, not even millions, definitely not a trillion. After all the hard work that has culminated in our accomplishments today, we're fortunate to be set up in life to find ikigai. We have all the proper ingredients for success. I believe that most of our mentors behind me on this stage have found it, and my hope for you is that all of you will find your ikigai as well. Thank you for providing this opportunity, Dean Miner, Dr. Schulman, Stanford faculty, and especially my classmates. I appreciate your willingness to bring me into the fold, and you know what I'm gonna say, let someone old enough to be your mom experience the joy of being in school again. And like your mom, I'm so proud of all of you. And finally, thanks to all the loved ones who supported us through this. And thank you to my wonderful daughter, Jane, for tolerating a mom who came home and complained about having to do homework. Congratulations, everybody. It's going to be great.
So for our medical students, I guess you should already be thinking about getting your applications ready for a PhD in about 30 years or so. 25 years. Please welcome our next speaker, PhD student Gabriel Baron, who is receiving his doctoral degree from the Department of Immunology.
Hello, class of 2026. Today, I want to share a short story with you. Back in 2023, a close friend of mine and I drove to Napa to see my favorite poet, Ada Limon, give a reading at a local art center. Like I said, Ada is my favorite poet, and after the reading, we waited in line to meet her. I went first, I took a picture with Ada, I thanked her for her time, and then I stepped away. What I hadn't realized was that my close friend had lingered. She stayed behind. She actually asked Ada to write me a personal note, and afterwards she found me and she gave it to me. The note said, "Gabe, we are made for this world. We are made for beauty. Keep discovering the things that save you." It was one of the kindest things anyone's ever done for me. That note lives on my desk, and I look at it almost every day. But something else from that day also stayed with me. That afternoon, Ada read my favorite poem, and it's called In Praise of Mystery. It's about NASA sending a spacecraft out into space to discover life on other planets. And my favorite line from that poem is, "We're made of wonders, of great and ordinary loves, of small, invisible worlds, of a need to call out through the dark." And I've thought about that line a lot because I think it entails, exactly what a PhD comprises. I spent 6 years studying a rare cell in the gut that is able to taste danger. And in doing so, helps your immune system make the right antibodies to ultimately protect you. This is my small, invisible world. And there were stretches in my PhD where I was sure I had it all figured out, where every result was lining up. I felt like Fred in a Scooby-Doo episode, ready to pull the mask off the monster and solve the mystery. And I'd run the experiment, and the whole theory would collapse. I'd be back at the bench, humbled by biology, calling out into the dark again. And I know I'm not alone in that feeling. Every one of us in this PhD section has at some point been absolutely certain that they'd cracked it, and then humbled by Tuesday. But that's what we learned how to do here. Not how to know things, but how to live inside of a question long enough that it becomes ours. How to keep going when the dots stop connecting. How to call out through the dark and trust that something somewhere is listening, even when the answer takes years to come back. And we didn't do this alone. The things that saved me were plural and specific and almost never the science itself. The things that saved me were my sister, who has Crohn's disease and has been my guiding light in pursuing this degree in the first place. It's been poetry, hiking in the redwoods, dancing, spending time with the people that make me feel like myself. It's been the friend who waits in line for a note that she knows I need. What I'm trying to say is that the people who saved me almost never knew that they were. They were just being kind on a Tuesday. And I don't know all of you personally, but I do know what it took to get here, and I'm so proud of all of us. We're advancing medicine for the world, and that is an honor. Today, I hope you all feel it, and I hope the people that got you here today feel it too. So I'll leave you with what Ada Limon left with me. For whatever comes next, in the lab, in the clinic, and out of it, keep discovering the things that save you. Thank you.
please welcome our medical student speaker, Georgiana Burnside, who will begin her residency training in anesthesiology at Stanford Healthcare.
Okay. Hello, friends. Correction, doctors. A little anticlimactic, you know. We already had an excellent match day, and we had the privilege of hearing an epic speech given by the wonderful Ben Jacobson. And now, after weeks of brain rot, you get me. So please bear with me. I did have to take a beta blocker for this. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Georgiana Burnside. I'm originally from Little Rock, Arkansas. However, after coming to Stanford for not only med school, but also undergrad, I've decided that it is time for them to finally start paying me. So I'll be sticking around for residency. Shout out Kat, Bergie, Cy, AB, my fellow Stanford lifers who also drank too much of the Kool-Aid. Oh, thanks. To honor this milestone in our lives today, I'd like to start by taking a walk down medical school memory lane. In the beginning, there was the first of many acronyms in our medical training, MOFO, or as Explore Courses refers to it, Molecular Foundations of Medicine, taught by the legendary Gil Chu. Right? I hope he's here somewhere. Then there was anatomy, where our self-guided study sessions would end up in more confusion and widespread panic during late-night study sessions in the lab. And microbiology. The point at which our friends and family started questioning what exactly medical school was teaching us as they watched us memorize diseases through increasingly bizarre cartoon sketches. All that learning, and I know we still ask our moms what to take for the common cold. Eventually, we mastered the steps of the physical exam, just to go to our own doctor's appointments, wondering, hello, why haven't you percussed me? And hold on, I remembered something essential to the preclinical experience. Just give me a sec. Oh yeah, the PTSD. So for everyone who doesn't know, this is the Bible of biochemistry. It's a map detailing all of the metabolic pathways in the human body, where we each spend hours with a magnifying glass, basically trying to learn what happens when one biochemical process fails. But who needs that when you can fix your busted metabolism using my supplement with the code Dr. Georgiana for 20% off? And that, my friends, that's what we're not gonna do as Stanford medicine graduates. You know who you are. And finally, Anki, our saving grace for step one, some more than others. Where a disturbing photo of a rash in a place that shall not be named inevitably finds its way onto your screen and into the peripheral vision of the person sitting next to you. Then we left the classroom and headed to the wards, where it was time to put all that knowledge to the test and hope that our awkward encounters with patient actors somehow prepared us for the real thing. For this pivotal transition, there was one pivotal person, Caroline Chang. Caroline, you deserve a Medal of Honor for surviving our panic emails during the clerkship draw. She probably couldn't be here today because she's helping a spiraling third year who somehow only got assigned one clerkship over the course of 12 months. And what do we learn on clerkships? Well, for starters, a different definition for the word pimping, where we learn to handle on-the-spot questions in front of large crowds.
Max Durchie, tell me the borders of Hesselbeck's triangle. He's better at bone stuff. And thank goodness it was pass-fail for us. Sorry for the future classes. And for our generation in the era of AI, rotating on the wards was a unique experience. When you think your attending isn't listening to your presentation, it turns out they're just scrolling open evidence trying to figure out what's going on too. All jokes aside, watching this class grow into physicians has been one of the greatest privileges of my medical school experience. I have full faith that future generations to come will be in the best of hands. I have seen many of you not only go the extra mile for your patients, but also redefine what it means to practice medicine beyond the walls of the hospital. You all have committed your lives to advancing life-changing research. You have challenged systems that perpetuate health inequities on a national and global level. And you have refused to stay silent when injustice affects the people we serve. Through it all, you have met uncertainty and misinformation with integrity, compassion, and an unwavering commitment to evidence-based care for the health of the public and the individual. Looking ahead, the next few months, though exciting, will come with a steep learning curve. Enter near the inevitable will happen. Nursing will leave a note that says, MD aware, even though deep down, you know that MD is in fact very unaware and very confused. But if this class has proven anything, it's that you're already more than ready. And while medicine will continue to challenge us, I hope we never lose sight of why we chose it in the first place. For me, that reason has always been deeply personal. After waking up as a paraplegic in an ICU at 16, I never realized what was waiting for me. For a long time, becoming a physician wasn't part of the plan. My goal was simply to regain enough independence to imagine a future I was proud of. And during those long years, in and out of hospitals and rehab, I learned something that medical school only reinforced. Patients rarely remember the lab value you quoted, the differential diagnosis you generated, or the paper you cited. They remember how you made them feel. They remember whether you sat down, whether you learned their name, or heck, even their nickname, whether you listened, gave them hope, helped them find joy or laughter in the midst of illness, or dignity at the end of life. They remembered when you celebrated the first time the 16-year-old girl put on her socks independently, or the day she successfully completed her first wheelie in the wheelchair that would carry her for years to come. Every one of us sitting here today has spent years learning how to diagnose disease. My hope is that we never stop learning how to care for the person experiencing it. Because there will be moments in residency when we are exhausted, overwhelmed, and wondering whether we're doing enough. In those moments, remember that while this may be just another day for you, it is also one of the most important days in your patient's life. While the wheelchair gets less use these days, and I've been called Dr. House more times than I'd like to admit, one thing has never changed. I will never forget the people and perspectives that brought me here. So as we part our final ways, I hope we continue to always take patient care seriously, but never ourselves. Because you never know when a moment of compassion, encouragement, or even laughter may change the course of someone's life. And you never know when the patient sitting in front of you may one day be standing where I am now. Congratulations, class of 2026. It's been the honor of a lifetime learning alongside you.